Let's get one thing straight. Detachment is not about playing games. It's not about pretending you don't care when you do, ignoring texts for hours to make someone sweat, or acting like love doesn't matter to you. Detachment is power. It's a shift in focus. It's the ability to hold your own no matter what's happening around you. Too many women fall into the trap of thinking that the more they give, the more they prove their worth. If I just love him harder, if I just show him how much I care, if I just make him see how good we are together, he won't pull away. But here's the hard truth. When you operate from that place, when you cling, when you overinvest, when you're attached to an outcome, they can sense it. They can sense when you're waiting on their text, when your mood depends on their attention, when your whole emotional world is wrapped up in them. And that energy, it doesn't inspire love, it suffocates it. But a woman who is detached, she's different, she's magnetic, not because she doesn't care, but because she isn't seeking external validation to feel whole. She moves through life with a quiet confidence, the kind that comes from knowing her worth no matter what. And that's irresistible. Detachment means you don't need constant reassurance to feel secure. You're not waiting by the phone, overanalyzing his words, or twisting yourself into knots trying to be enough. You already are enough, and you know it. If someone can't see that, it's their loss, not yours. Detachment means you don't chase, not because you're playing hard to get, but because you are hard to get. You're selective with your energy. You're not available for inconsistency, breadcrumbs, or half-hearted effort. If someone wants to be in your life, they need to earn that place. It also means you don't overgive. So many women pour themselves into people who haven't even shown up for them yet. They invest too much too soon, hoping to be chosen. But when you detach, you stop giving out love like it's a bribe. You let people prove they deserve your time and attention before you hand it over. Most importantly, detachment means you stop attaching your happiness to someone else's actions. A man not texting back does not define your worth. A man pulling away does not mean you did something wrong. A relationship ending does not mean you failed. When you're detached, you realize that your emotions are yours to control. You don't let someone else's behavior dictate how you feel about yourself. But let's be clear, detachment doesn't mean you stop caring. It doesn't mean you become cold or emotionally unavailable. It means you love with an open hand instead of a clenched fist. It means you allow things to flow rather than trying to force them. It means you understand that what's meant for you will stay, and what isn't, you're willing to let go. And here's the beautiful part. When you detach, you don't lose love. You invite better love. You attract people who respect your boundaries, value your presence, and rise to meet your energy instead of draining it. You create space for the kind of love that doesn't require you to chase, beg, or prove. The kind of love that feels like home instead of a battlefield. So the next time you feel yourself gripping too tightly, whether it's to a relationship, an outcome, or a person who isn't meeting you halfway, pause. Breathe. Remind yourself, you don't need to control this to be okay. You don't need to force anything that's truly meant for, because a woman who is detached, she is powerful, she is free, and that's something no one can resist. Let's talk about energy because it speaks before you do. It enters the room before you say a word. It's the thing people feel about you before they even know you. And when it comes to relationships, your energy is either pulling someone in or pushing them away. Whether you realize it or not, you've probably experienced this. You've met someone who didn't even have to say much, but there was something about them, something intriguing, something magnetic. And on the flip side, you've probably also met someone whose energy felt off. Maybe they were too eager, too anxious, or trying too hard. That energy, it's everything. You can say all the right words, wear all the right things, and play all the right games, but if your energy is screaming insecurity, desperation, or fear, that's what people will pick up on. When you're interacting with men, this matters even more. Attraction isn't just about what's being said, it's about what's felt. Think about when you're waiting for a text back. If your energy is calm, grounded, and detached, it's easy to wait. You send the message and go about your day because you're not basing your worth on the response. But if your energy is needy, anxious, or overinvested, the waiting becomes an emotional roller coaster. Why hasn't he replied yet? Did I say something wrong? Maybe if I double text, he'll answer. That energy doesn't just stay inside of you, it translates into your actions. It makes you react instead of receive. It makes you overcompensate, overexplain, or overgive, and that's when things start to fall apart. Here's what most women don't realize. The second your energy shifts into needing someone to validate you, the dynamic changes. You stop being the woman he was drawn to in the first place, the one who was effortlessly herself, the one who knew she was enough. Instead, you become someone who is seeking something from him. And men feel that shift. They may not be able to put it into words, but they sense it. They sense when you're looking to them for approval, when you're waiting on their next move to decide how you feel about yourself, when your happiness is tied to their responses. And that energy, it's heavy, it's pressure, and it's the opposite of attraction. On the flip side, when a woman is centered, when she knows her worth without needing someone else to confirm it, that energy is magnetic. She's not worried about whether he texts or not because she's busy. She's not analyzing every little detail because she's secure in herself. She's not waiting, she's living. And that energy, that's what men can't resist. Because here's something you need to know. People don't fall for words. They fall for how you make them feel. And when you're radiating confidence, self-respect, and ease, it changes the way you move, the way you communicate, the way you show up in every interaction. You don't rush. You don't force. You don't need anyone to make you feel chosen because you've already chosen yourself. That's why energy matters more than words. You can't convince someone to like you. You can't make someone value you. But when you shift your energy, when you start showing up as the woman who knows she's valuable rather than the one trying to prove it, you change everything. Men don't respond to pressure. They respond to presence. They respond to a woman who is already enough, who is full of life, connected to her own joy, her own purpose, her own self. That's the kind of energy they can't ignore. So the next time you feel yourself overthinking, waiting, or needing something outside of yourself to feel okay, pause. Breathe, shift. Ask yourself, what's the energy I want to bring into this moment? Because trust me, your energy speaks louder than any words ever could. And when you learn to own it, you become unstoppable. Let's be real. Overanalyzing is exhausting. It drains your energy, steals your peace, and makes you question things that don't even need questioning. You get stuck in a loop, replaying conversations, dissecting text messages, trying to predict someone else's thoughts, like your happiness depends on it. But here's the truth. It doesn't. It never did. The more you analyze, the more you suffer. You start attaching meaning to things that don't actually mean anything. A delayed text turns into maybe he's losing interest. A short response becomes, did I say something wrong? A shift in his tone makes you spiral into, what did I do? Suddenly, you're stuck in your head, trying to solve a problem that doesn't even exist. And while you're doing that, while you're overthinking every little detail, you're not actually living. You're not present. You're not enjoying yourself. You're waiting for a sign, waiting for clarity, waiting for someone else's actions to give you permission to feel okay. But what if you didn't have to do that? What if instead of trying to figure everything out, you just let it be? Because here's the thing, the right things in life don't need to be dissected. They flow. They feel easy. They don't make you feel like you need to decode every interaction just to understand where you stand. When something is good for you, it doesn't create anxiety, it creates peace. So why waste your time obsessing over what someone else thinks when you could be out living your life? Why waste energy trying to control something that's not even in your control? The only thing you can control is you, your energy, your focus, your happiness. And when you shift your attention back to yourself, instead of analyzing someone else's behavior, everything changes. Imagine if you took all that energy you spend worrying about a text, a call, or a situation you can't control and put it into your passions, your goals, your joy. Imagine if, instead of waiting for someone to validate your worth, you just decided you were already worthy. Because you are. When you stop overanalyzing, you start trusting. Trusting that if something is meant for you, it will be clear. Trusting that the people who truly care about you won't leave you confused. Trusting that no matter what happens, you will be fine. And that kind of trust, that's powerful. It makes you unshakable. It allows you to live in the moment instead of trying to control the future. It lets you enjoy people instead of trying to predict their next move. It makes you magnetic, because nothing is more attractive than a woman who is fully present, fully herself, and fully alive. So the next time you catch yourself spiraling, pause, take a breath, remind yourself, I don't need to have all the answers right now, and then go do something that makes you feel good, something that brings you back to you, because life isn't meant to be analyzed. It's meant to be lived. Silence is one of the most powerful things you can master. It speaks louder than words, carries more weight than explanations, and has the ability to shift an entire dynamic without you having to lift a finger. Yet most people don't know how to use it. Instead, they react. They argue, they over-explain to prove their worth, their feelings, their point. But here's the truth. Power isn't in the reaction. It's in the restraint. Think about the last time someone upset you. Maybe they ignored your message, said something disrespectful, or made you feel like an afterthought. What was your first instinct? If you're like most people, it was probably to react, to demand an answer, to express frustration, to say something that would make them see how they hurt you. But did it help? Or did it just make you feel like you were giving away your power? Because here's the thing, reacting emotionally doesn't make people listen. It doesn't make them respect you more. If anything, it gives them control. It shows them that they can affect you, that their actions dictate your emotions. And once they know that, they can push and pull you as they please. But when you don't react, when you choose silence over chasing, when you remove your energy instead of proving your point, that is when the dynamic silence forces people to sit with their own actions. It makes them wonder, why isn't she responding? Why isn't she fighting for my attention? It creates space for them to feel the absence of your energy. And that absence is often more powerful than anything you could ever say. When you react impulsively, you give people an easy way out. You give them a response they can dismiss, a fight they can blame on you, an emotional reaction they can use to justify their behavior. But when you're silent, they're left with only themselves, their actions, their choices, and that is what makes them reflect. This doesn't mean you suppress your emotions or ignore things that genuinely need to be addressed. It means you choose when and if something is worth your energy. It means you recognize that not everything deserves a response, that sometimes the best way to communicate your value is to say nothing at all, because silence isn't weakness, it's not avoidance, it's control. It's the ability to sit in your power without the need to beg, convince, or prove. And the moment you master that, you become untouchable. If you want to keep a man interested, you have to understand one fundamental truth. People value what they have to earn. When something is too easy, too available, or too predictable, it loses its excitement. It becomes routine. And in relationships, routine often kills attraction faster than anything else. Now, let's be clear. This isn't about playing games or manipulating someone by deliberately ignoring them. It's about creating natural space. It's about having a life so full, so rich, and so engaging that you aren't sitting around waiting for him to call, text, or plan the next date. It's about being a woman who isn't available all the time, not because she's trying to make him chase her, but because she has things going on that don't revolve around him. Men are wired to crave a little challenge. Not in the sense that they want drama, but in the sense that they want to feel like they're earning your time and attention. When a woman is always available, always waiting, always accommodating, she unintentionally removes that challenge. And once a man feels like he doesn't have to put in effort, he stops putting in effort. Think about it. How do you feel when something is just handed to you without any effort? When there's no anticipation, no sense of excitement, no need to work for it? It's human nature to take for granted the things that require no effort to keep. And this applies to relationships too. Being unavailable sometimes means you don't drop everything just because he texts. It means you don't rearrange your entire schedule to fit his. It means that when he reaches out, you don't always jump to respond immediately, not because you're trying to be distant, but because you have a life that doesn't revolve around him. And that life, that's what makes you attractive. That's what makes him want to be around you. When a woman is too available, she unknowingly sends a message. You are the most important thing in my life, and I will always prioritize you over myself. And while that might sound romantic, it actually does the opposite of what you want. It makes a man feel like he doesn't have to do anything to keep your attention. There's no excitement, no mystery, no pull that makes him want to chase. But when you are sometimes unavailable, when you are busy, engaged, and living your life on your own terms, He starts to notice. He starts to wonder what you're up to.